In this video, let's look at a recent roster transaction, both added and taken away, an updated injury report for Chiefs versus Colts, some interesting facts about Sunday's game and their history, keys to victory, and much freaking more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Colt, aka the Red Bearded YouTube Wizard, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs, so make sure to sub if you're new, hit that like button if the Chiefs are getting a dub on Sunday against the little Colts, and let's get into this video starting with a roster transaction or two. First off, tight end Kendall Blanton is back with the Rams. That's right, their tight end got suspended for 3 games, so they took him from the Chiefs practice squad, signed him to their 53-man roster. Next, Chiefs signed defensive end Benton Whitley from the Rams practice squad to their 53-man roster. This is the man I talked about in a couple videos prior who was from Holy Cross, but I had a small mistake in that original video about him when I said he was signed to the Chiefs practice squad. He's actually on the Chiefs 53-man roster because under current practice squad rules, this means that Whitley must remain on Kansas City's active roster for at least 3 weeks. He currently occupies the active roster spot that was vacated when the NFL suspended linebacker Willie Gay Jr. on Monday. So I don't think this man is going to suit up, but it's worth noting. And speaking of Willie Gay, with him suspended, linebacker Darius Harris will get the nod. The 26-year-old has been on the team since 2019, coming on as a UDFA, but spent that year on the non-football injured reserve list, then has spent the last couple of years primarily on the practice squad, getting called up from time to time solely or mainly for special teams usage, but he looked good this preseason, making several splash plays, and after a long 3-year journey, he gets the starting nod in Gay's absence, and Darius Harris spoke at a presser, I believe on Thursday, and said, "It's definitely been a long time coming, but it's something I've prepared myself for ever since I've been here for the past 3 years, going on 4 years now, just being ready, staying ready. Obviously, I know the time is going to come, and you never know when it is, but when it is, you just make sure that you're ready for it, which is this week. I'm just glad for the opportunity and ready to take the next step forward." So Darius Harris, let's freaking go. Let's be honest, though, it's going to be a step backwards a bit. Willie Gay Jr. is the man. He's the most athletic linebacker, the fastest guy on the linebacking unit that the Chiefs have, and has made a lot of plays this season already in the first 2 games that won't be reflected on the stat sheet, and we could dive into that in a later video. But yeah, next man up, Darius Harris it is. We'll get into keys to victory, but he's going to really have to help with that because Willie Gay is a much valued player on this team. Now, as far as injury report goes for this Sunday's game, Michael Pittman Jr., their wide receiver, is ready to go. Should be playing Sunday, which is good news for the Colts in week 1. For example of how valuable he is, Michael Pittman was targeted 13 times, catching 9 of them for 131 yards, which is a 13.4 yard average and a TD. So Matt Ryan was definitely looking for this man, and he was injured week 2, which Matt Ryan struggled a lot more in. Now, as far as other injuries go for the Colts, you have Bernard Ryman, their offensive tackle, with an ankle injury. He did not participate on Wednesday, was limited Thursday and Friday, but ruled out for Sunday's game. Then you have their star linebacker, the baller, Shaquille Leonard. He fully participated all week, but has been ruled out for Sunday. So honestly, a really good news for Chiefs and Chiefs fans because this man is a baller. So I'm glad he's out. Willie Gay's out. So is this man. Cool. Yannick Ngakoue, defensive end, back injury. He's questionable for Sunday, and that's going to be a Sunday decision. So worth noting for them. Everybody else is good to go. And as far as the Chiefs go, Mike Dana, defensive end with the calf injury, has been ruled out for Sunday, and in his stead, Malik Herring is going to get some reps per Coach Reed in his presser recently, but George Karlaftis is going to be starting. The Greek freak, Furious George himself, and then Harrison Butker with the ankle injury has been ruled out for Sunday as well, and that means Matt Amendola is going to be kicking and doing field goals, which he did last week as well. So Matt Amendola kicking, George Karlaftis starting for Dana, and Malik Herring probably getting some reps in as well to give these guys rest as they rotate in and out. Now, here's some interesting notes as I was looking up Chiefs versus Colts and their history. I was actually pretty surprised to find out that the last 14 of 18 games, the Colts have won. Let's not go down that rabbit trail because there's been some depressing losses from the Colts, especially in the postseason. But here's another interesting stat. Andy Reid is 2 wins and 3 losses. So 2-3 against the Colts since he has been coaching with the Chiefs in 2013. And another interesting note, Big Red is also 5-5, so 500 after a mini bye, a 10-day stretch after a Thursday night football game. Surprising because of how good he is after a bye week. So this caught me off guard. Now, am I saying the Chiefs are going to lose on Sunday? When you see my prediction, you'll realize probably not, but still, interesting facts. They've won the last 14 of 18 games, and Andy Reid is only 500 after mini buys. Very interesting indeed. Some other things I found out, the Colts are the second best in the league on defense regarding average yard per carry in the run game, which is 2.7 yards per carry, but the Chiefs have also been doing pretty freaking well themselves. I believe are ranked around 9th best in average yards per carry allowed, and just last week against the Chargers, they didn't allow a single running back a run longer than 8 yards, which is pretty freaking incredible if you ask me. Matt Ryan has been sacked 7 times, that's 3.5 times average per game, and the Colts turnover ratio is -4, and the Colts are also only 8 for 25 on third down conversions, whereas for the Chiefs, Mahomes has been sacked once instead of 7. Their turnover ratio is 0 instead of -4, and they are 9 for 20 on third down conversions, which is nearly 50%. Now, some of you might be like, what? That's because they were incredible against the Cardinals on third down, but against the Chargers on third down. Another interesting note here is that Gus Bradley is the defensive coordinator for the Colts, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because it should. He was the defensive coordinator for the Chargers from 2017 to 2020, then left the Chargers on his own accord, I believe, to be the defensive coordinator for the Raiders in 2021, alongside John Gruden. Then, of course, all that mess happened. John Gruden was let go, and Gus was also fired in the offseason, more than likely because of that whole fiasco. Had John Gruden still been with the Raiders, Gus may very well also still have been with the Chokeland Faders as well. But here we are. He's on the Colts defensive coordinator, and they're playing him on Sunday. Gus was asked about the Chiefs in a recent presser because of their history, and I found his answer pretty entertaining to say the least.
Talk about the Chiefs. I mean, I know you're trying to still build out this scheme and get guys comfortable in it, but Patrick Mahomes has a long history of a lot of success against single high safety and those kind of looks. So is this a week where you could try and switch things up a little bit, or is it that important just to kind of stick to what you do and build it for the long haul?
Well, I disagree with that part of it, the early statement. I think earlier, we played a lot of single high against them and did some really good things. Points wise, held them down. The last year, I think we had a game where we had a lot of turnovers, and then it kind of got the score caught up on us.
Now, do not let this man's delusional answer fool you. He has not done a good job in the past against the Chiefs. Gus has 9 losses and 1 win on his resume against Kansas City since 2017, and his 1 win was in 2018, in which the Chiefs lost by 1 point, 28-29. So, he's completely delusional in his answer here, if we're going to be completely honest.
Well, obviously, a quarterback like this, mixing up the looks, doing different things, but playing fast. They do a great job of getting the receivers the ball, their backs the ball, and operate in space. We're going to have to do a good job, regardless, whatever we're playing, of doing a good job tackling in space, giving some different looks, and then execution.
So he didn't confirm if he would or would not continue to play 1 high safety in the majority of his looks, which is probably intentional because why would you show your hand? But I will say having this man as their defensive coordinator is definitely a nice little bonus for the Chiefs this week, as they seem to have his number for quite a while now. All right, let's look at some keys to victory. I'm going to give you 6, 3 on the defense, 3 on the offense. Then I'm going to give you my prediction for this game. Key number 1, contain the running back Jonathan Taylor. He is incredible, led the league in rushing last year with over 1,800 yards, and I believe he was the lead rusher by like 500 yards. So that's how much he ran and how good he was. He's a powerful back at 5'10", 226 pounds, and runs a 4.39 40 time. He's powerful, dangerous, and has already racked up 215 rushing yards on 40 carries over the past 2 games, which is a 5.4 yard per carry average. The Chiefs defense has got to step up and minimize the Colts running game here. Keeping JT under 100 yards would be ideal. That would force Matt Ryan to throw the ball. That little statue in the pocket, old, washed up man he is. Nick Bolton spoke about Jonathan Taylor in a recent presser of his.
He's special, an elite running back in this league. When the ball's in his hands, he can get north and south quick in a hurry and break tackles in second, third levels. So we got to make sure we can set up front with our 7 guys, track the hip, and make sure we make tackles in space. And that's going to be the name of this game.
That's going to be the name of the game indeed, minimizing the impact of Jonathan Taylor and forcing Matt Statue in the pocket, Ryan, to throw the ball. This man is going to get pressured like crazy. I believe the Chiefs are going to have 3 sacks. And it's also interesting to note he threw 3 picks. Matt Ryan did in last week's game against the Jaguars, in which they lost 24-0. So D-line's got to do their thing, and then linebackers got to step up as well. And honestly, I think that is the biggest win for the defense off the top. If they do that, the Colts will throw more, and that'll lead me to key number 2. The cornerback room has got to show up. Last week, we thought it was going to be Jalen Watson who was going to get picked on, but get this. L'Jarius Sneed gave up 8 receptions on 9 targets for 98 yards and a TD. Rashad Fenton was targeted 4 times, allowing for 3 receptions for 68 yards, and had like 2 or 3 pass interference calls. And Jalen Watson had only 3 receptions allowed on 8 targets for 25 yards and had a 99-yard pick 6. Y'all know that one. So we thought Watson was going to get picked on, but it was really Fenton and Sneed. So they really need to step up. And key number 3 is turnovers. Yeah. But win the turnover battle on defense and keep the offense chugging along, because the Colts could potentially be hogging up the time, eating up the clock with Jonathan Taylor and long drives with lots of runs. So getting turnovers via fumbles or interceptions when Matt Ryan chooses to throw the ball is a must to swing possession time in the Chiefs' favor. Now, those are the 3 keys on defense, and as far as offense goes, key number 1, get Clyde Edwards-Helaire involved quickly. He has the hot hand with over 100 total yards from scrimmage last week against a very good defense. Get the run game, screen game, quick pass game established early, and let Clyde feast like he's at a freaking buffet. I think he will potentially have another 100-plus yard game from scrimmage. That's both rushing yards and passing yards on Sunday. So we got to let this man in there and get to work. Key number 2, I'd love to see the interior trio of the offensive line and the tight ends have a better blocking game for the run, better than they had last week, because that felt very subpar, below average, especially for the interior trio. And I don't want to knock them too harshly for it, considering who they were playing against. The Chargers are a very good team, but I think this is a must to show KC can threaten teams with the run game, which in turn should demand a bit more respect from other teams about said run game in the future. Now, key number 3, this was my key last week, but we're going to do it again. Can we please get Juju Smith-Schuster involved? I know it's easier said than done, but I still think he has the potential to shred the middle of the field, with Kelsey getting the attention, and Shaq Leonard, injured and not playing, leaves a big hole of talent in the middle of that field. So at the end of the day, I want Juju to eat. He is leading wide receivers and reception yards for what that is worth. Kelsey is obviously at the top, then Juju, but it doesn't have to be Juju. At the end of the day, I'm sure the offense will continue to spread the ball all around like butter on toast. Mahomes has averaged like 9 targets in each of his 2 games this season. 9 different receivers in each of his 2 games this season, and that won't stop anytime soon. I'm sure the ball will be slinging every which way, and I honestly pray the Colts blitz the crap out of the Chiefs, because Mahomes is hungry, and you know he wants to feast and does very well off the blitz. Now, for my prediction, and I want to make a disclaimer here off the top. I don't want to take the Colts lightly. It doesn't seem like anybody from the Chiefs are taking them lightly. You had Eric Bieniemy speaking about the Colts today, Patrick Mahomes, and all these guys spoke very highly of the Colts.
The Colts are a great football team. I think all of us understand that. If you look at their roster, they have playmakers everywhere, guys that made plays in this league for a long time. And we understand how tough of an opponent it's going to be. So we're not looking ahead at anything. We're looking straight at the Colts and know it's going to be a tough matchup for us to go to Indy in their home opener and try to find a way to get a win.
Although, they're struggling right now, I think they're a great team. They have a lot of, puzzles that they have on their defense that's going to fit really, really well. I'm excited to go against Gilmore. He's a guy that I went against multiple times when I was in Pittsburgh, and him being at New England. So it's really cool.
I'll say this, just like I say each and every week, the game is won up front. Those guys got some studs up front. They got the kid, number 90. Obviously, they got Big Buckner as a 3 technique. They got Kwity Paye, and they got Yannick. And then in the back end, they got a Pro Bowler that's playing at the nickel position, and they got Mr. Gilmore out there as well. And they're doing a hell of a job. Obviously, they haven't had the best of luck for the past 2 weeks, but they're playing at home. This is going to be a rallying cry. Our guys got to make sure that we're ready more than anything. So I'm not concerned about them. You know, I need to just make sure that our guys are ready to play a 60-minute sound football game.
So yeah, the Chiefs are taking them seriously, so we should as well. Now, this is supposedly a trap game, a potential trap game for the Chiefs, with the Colts coming off a very embarrassing loss to the Jaguars last week, 24-0, and this also being their home opener. In spite of all that, though, I think the Chiefs win this game. Basically, everyone and their mother, aunt, cousins, second cousins, they're picking the Chiefs to win this game, and so am I. I'm going to have the Chiefs having a heyday, putting up 31 points while the Colts score 21. I think even without Willie Gay Jr. in there, the Chiefs' young, fast defense are going to be very physical at the line, keeping Jonathan Taylor, JT, Justin Timberlake to a minimum, and forcing the statue in the pocket, Matt Ryan himself, to rely on his passing, which will in turn win the Chiefs this game. And this is where I want to pass the question off to you all. Do you agree with my keys to victory? What about my score prediction? If not, where do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's fight about it down there per usual, because I'm here for all the freaking smoke. Make sure to like this vid if you enjoyed, sub to the channel, all that good stuff. Then check out this video here, pew pew, which is a Chiefs Colts preview from the scrambling armchair, a man much smarter than myself. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those